You want to be untouchable, not because you want to build walls that trap you inside a cage, but because you want to own your life with a confidence so fierce that no one can shake you. To be untouchable is to move through the world with the unshakable foundation of your own truth, the clarity of your boundaries, and the resilience to bounce back from anything that tries to pull you down. It starts with understanding one fundamental thing. No one has the power to bother you unless you give it to them. The moment you accept that, everything changes. People will try to rattle you, test you, provoke you, and push your buttons. This is inevitable. But what you decide to do in those moments determines whether you remain vulnerable or become untouchable. Being untouchable is not about building walls out of fear. It's about constructing a fortress of self-awareness, self-respect, and emotional discipline. When you control your mind, your emotions, and your reactions, you become like water, fluid, calm, and unstoppable. You don't react impulsively, you respond thoughtfully. You don't lose your calm, you master your calm. The first weapon in your arsenal is clarity. Clarity about who you are and what you stand for. When you know your values, your boundaries, your goals, when you have a deep understanding of yourself, no one can walk all over you. You will not tolerate disrespect, manipulation, or toxicity because you understand that your energy is sacred and limited. You are the guardian of that energy, and you choose wisely who gets to share it. Practice ruthless self-honesty. Look at yourself without excuses or justifications. Own your weaknesses, but don't let them define you. Own your mistakes, but don't let guilt imprison you. Acknowledge your fears, but refuse to be paralyzed by them. The untouchable person is fearless, not because they don't feel fear, but because they've learned how to move through fear without losing themselves. Next, understand that your power lies not in controlling others, but in controlling yourself. You cannot dictate how people behave, but you can control how you respond. When someone tries to bother you, whether it's with words, actions, or energy, do not hand over your power by reacting emotionally. Instead, pause, breathe, and choose your response. Sometimes, the strongest response is no response at all. Cultivate emotional discipline. This means training your mind to stay calm in chaos, to remain steady when the world shakes around you. It's like training a muscle. At first, it's uncomfortable and unfamiliar, but over time, it becomes second nature. When you're emotionally disciplined, negativity bounces off you like water off a duck's back. People can't get under your skin because you control your own skin. The untouchable are also masters of boundaries. They don't wait for others to respect their limits, they enforce them without hesitation. Saying no is a superpower. It's not selfish, it's self-preserving. Every time you say yes to something that drains you, you say no to yourself. Protect your time, your space, and your energy fiercely. This is your non-negotiable territory. Anyone who doesn't respect it isn't worthy of access. Another crucial element is detachment. Not apathy, but detachment. Detach yourself from the need for validation, from the urge to please everyone, and from the addiction to approval. The untouchable don't live for other people's opinions. They understand that approval is a fleeting, external currency that holds no real value. True power is internal. When you are your own validation, you become invincible. You also need to cultivate a mindset of resilience. Life will throw punches. People will betray, disappoint, or hurt you, but you don't collapse. You don't crumble. You absorb the blows, learn the lessons, and move forward stronger. Resilience is about turning every setback into a comeback, every failure into fuel. The untouchable don't live in fear of hardship, they welcome it as a test of their strength. Self-care isn't just bubble baths and spa days. It's the daily practice of honoring yourself, in mind, body, and spirit. Untouchable people don't neglect themselves. They sleep well, eat well, train their bodies, and nourish their minds. A strong body supports a strong mind, and a strong mind supports unshakable confidence. You cannot be untouchable if you don't invest in your own well-being. Equally important is your inner dialogue. The way you speak to yourself shapes your reality. If your inner voice is harsh, critical, or doubtful, you sabotage your own power. Train your mind to be your fiercest ally. Speak to yourself with kindness, encouragement, and strength. Remind yourself daily of your worth and your ability to rise above any challenge. The untouchable don't live in fear of confrontation or conflict because they know that avoiding it often leads to being controlled by it. They face conflict head-on, with calmness and clarity. They don't seek to escalate drama, but won't back down when their boundaries are tested. They know that sometimes the best way to be untouchable is to stand firm and hold the line. Trust your intuition. When something or someone feels off, trust that feeling. Don't dismiss your gut instinct for the sake of politeness or convenience. Your intuition is your internal security system. It guides you away from danger and towards environments that support your growth. Ignoring it leaves you vulnerable. Practice mindfulness. Be present. When your mind is scattered, you are an easy target. The untouchable keep their minds anchored in the present moment. They don't ruminate on the past or worry about the future. They are fully engaged with what's happening now, which allows them to respond with precision and power rather than react out of fear or anxiety. Learn to control your narrative. Don't let others define who you are or tell your story. Own your past, your identity, and your future. When you control your narrative, you control your power. You can rewrite the script and decide how you want your life to unfold. Being untouchable means being the author of your own story. Surround yourself with a circle that reflects your strength. Energy is contagious. The people you choose to keep close either lift you up or drag you down. Untouchable people surround themselves with those who challenge them to be better, who respect their boundaries, and who inspire growth. Toxic relationships are a breach in your fortress. Cut them out without guilt. Develop your skills and knowledge relentlessly. Confidence grows exponentially when you know you're prepared. When you're competent, you don't have to fear judgment or failure. Keep sharpening your mind and your craft. Knowledge is armor. And when you're armored, you are untouchable. Remember, being untouchable doesn't mean being isolated or cold. It means being so confident and secure in yourself that others cannot hurt you emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. You can still be compassionate, loving, and open, but you are not fragile. You don't crumble when storms come. Instead, you stand tall and unshaken. Practice gratitude daily. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's abundant. It rewires your brain to notice the good, which builds mental strength. When your mind is focused on gratitude, negativity loses its grip. You become a beacon of positivity that negativity cannot penetrate. Master the art of silence. Sometimes saying nothing is the most powerful response. Silence shows control, strength, and confidence. It disarms aggression because it refuses to feed into drama. When someone tries to provoke you, the untouchable respond with calm silence or measured words. This keeps them above the fray and in control. Develop physical presence. Stand tall, walk with purpose, and speak clearly. Your body language speaks louder than your words. When you carry yourself like you belong, people will treat you accordingly. Physical presence is a daily practice of self-respect and strength. Be disciplined with your time and your commitments. The untouchable treat their time as their most precious asset. They don't waste it on distractions, drama, or people who don't add value. They focus on what matters. And that focus creates momentum that makes them unstoppable. Accept that not everyone will like you or agree with you, and that's okay. The need to be liked is a vulnerability that others can exploit. When you release the need for universal approval, you free yourself. You become authentic, and authenticity is magnetic and untouchable. Remember that your peace is your power. If something or someone disrupts your peace, address it immediately. Don't let small irritations fester into big problems. Protect your peace like it's your most valuable possession, because it is. Without peace, you cannot be untouchable. Never let your guard down with your self-worth. Your worth is not based on achievements, possessions, or status. It is inherent. When you truly believe this, you become impervious to insults, criticism, and rejection. Your worth is your unbreakable shield. Practice forgiveness. Not for others, but for yourself. Holding grudges and resentment keeps you chained to the past and vulnerable. Forgiveness frees your mind and your heart, allowing you to move forward untouchable by the wounds that once hurt you. Be patient. Becoming untouchable is a process, not a one-time event. It takes daily work, self-reflection, and sometimes painful growth. But every step forward strengthens your fortress. Celebrate progress, learn from setbacks, and keep moving forward. Keep your goals in front of you like a laser. When you're focused on your purpose, distractions lose their power. You don't get caught up in petty drama or negativity, because you're too busy building your legacy. Finally, know that being untouchable is a mindset. It is a way of living that refuses to let fear, doubt, or negativity control you. It is the ultimate act of self-love and self-respect. When you are untouchable, you don't just survive. You become a force that no one can stop and no one can touch. Mastering yourself is the foundation of becoming untouchable. It's the invisible armor that shields you from the chaos, the doubts, and the negativity that life inevitably throws your way. Before you can expect the world to respect your boundaries or leave you unbothered, you must first command authority over your own mind and emotions. The moment you recognize that your power lies within, not in external validation or control over others, you step into a place where no one can truly disturb your peace. Emotional discipline is the cornerstone of this mastery. Most people react impulsively to provocation, criticism, or stress because their emotional responses are untrained and uncontrolled. They hand over their power with every angry outburst, every panic, every moment of self-doubt. But emotional discipline is the practice of choosing your reaction consciously, instead of letting your emotions dictate your behavior. It means pausing in the middle of tension, breathing deeply, and making the decision to respond with calmness and clarity. This isn't something you are born with. It's a muscle you develop through consistent practice. The first step toward emotional discipline is awareness. You must become intimately familiar with your emotional patterns. What triggers you? How do you typically respond when under pressure or insult? Do you lash out, withdraw, or crumble? By observing your reactions without judgment, you begin to create a gap between stimulus and response. This gap is your zone of power. It's where you choose not to give your energy away, where you decide whether a situation is worth your attention or not. Next is self-control, the ability to regulate your impulses. This is difficult because emotions feel urgent and overwhelming, but the untouchable learn to master this. They know that surrendering to anger, fear, or sadness only makes them vulnerable. Instead, they practice techniques like deep breathing, grounding themselves in the present moment, or shifting their focus to something productive. This discipline transforms emotional turmoil into strength. When a person can hold steady in the storm, they become unshakable. Alongside emotional discipline, clarity about your identity and values is crucial. When you are clear on who you are and what you stand for, you no longer rely on others' opinions to define your worth. This clarity acts like a compass in turbulent times. It guides your decisions, informs your boundaries, and anchors your confidence. You become less reactive because your sense of self is not dependent on external approval or rejection. To build this clarity, spend time reflecting deeply on your values and goals. What principles do you refuse to compromise? What kind of life are you committed to creating? When your internal map is clear, distractions and provocations lose their power over you. You see them as tests or noise, not as threats. This clarity allows you to make decisions with confidence and prevents you from getting lost in other people's drama or negativity. Another vital part of mastering yourself is cultivating self-honesty. It's tempting to avoid facing your flaws, mistakes, or fears, but true strength comes from owning them fully. When you are brutally honest with yourself, you remove the blind spots that keep you stuck. You can acknowledge areas where you need growth without shame or denial. This self-awareness builds resilience because you're no longer wasting energy pretending or hiding. Instead, you're using that energy to improve and move forward. Importantly, mastering yourself requires separating your identity from your emotions and thoughts. You are not your anger, your fear, or your self-doubt. These are temporary states, waves that pass through your mind. The untouchable person learns to observe their thoughts and feelings as an impartial witness. This perspective creates freedom from the emotional hijacking that so often disrupts peace of mind. Mindfulness practices such as meditation or journaling can help cultivate this observer mindset. By regularly checking in with yourself, you train your brain to stay present and prevent spirals of negative thinking. This presence is powerful because it prevents you from being dragged into reactive patterns. Instead, you choose your emotional response with intention. In addition, mastering yourself involves building mental toughness. Life will challenge you with setbacks, failures, and disappointments. Those who are untouchable don't crumble under pressure, they hold fast to their inner strength. Mental toughness means developing grit and perseverance. It means viewing obstacles not as reasons to quit, but as opportunities to grow stronger. When you embrace this mindset, external problems lose their ability to weaken you. One practical way to strengthen mental toughness is through deliberate exposure to discomfort. This doesn't mean seeking out suffering, but intentionally placing yourself in situations that challenge your limits, whether physical, emotional, or intellectual. Each time you overcome discomfort, your confidence in handling future challenges grows. This cycle builds an inner fortress that no one can penetrate. Another aspect of self-mastery is controlling your inner dialogue. The stories you tell yourself shape your beliefs and behavior. If your internal narrative is full of doubt, fear, or self-criticism, you undermine your own power. The untouchable person cultivates a positive, empowering inner voice. They treat themselves with the same respect and encouragement they would offer a trusted friend or ally. This means actively challenging negative thoughts and replacing them with constructive ones. Instead of saying, "I can't handle this," say, "I've overcome challenges before and I can handle this too." This practice rewires your brain for resilience and confidence. Over time, it becomes automatic to think in ways that support your strength rather than diminish it. It's also essential to recognize that mastering yourself is an ongoing journey. You will have moments where you falter or feel overwhelmed, and that's normal. What distinguishes the untouchable is not perfection, but commitment to growth. When you stumble, you pick yourself up, learn the lesson, and keep moving forward without surrendering your power. Finally, remember that mastering yourself is not about suppressing emotions or pretending to be invulnerable. It's about integrating all parts of yourself with compassion and control. It's the balance between feeling deeply and responding wisely. This integration creates an inner harmony that radiates outward, making you a force that cannot be shaken. When you master yourself, you become the calm in the chaos, the rock in the storm. No external force can penetrate the fortress of your mind and spirit because you've taken full ownership of your power. This is the true definition of being untouchable. Setting and enforcing boundaries is one of the most powerful acts you can commit to if you want to become untouchable. Boundaries are not just rules for others, they are declarations of self-respect and self-worth. They mark the line between what you will accept and what you will not. Without clear boundaries, you leave yourself vulnerable to being drained, disrespected, and controlled by the expectations, demands, and energies of others. When you learn to create and defend your boundaries relentlessly, you reclaim your power and protect your peace. The first step in setting boundaries is recognizing that your time, energy, and emotional well-being are precious resources. These resources are limited, and once depleted, they cannot be easily replenished. When you allow others to encroach on your time or to disrespect your emotional space, you're effectively giving away your power. Untouchable people understand that protecting these resources is non-negotiable. They refuse to be used as emotional dumping grounds or as sources of free labor simply because someone else wants convenience or validation. It takes courage to say no, and yet, this simple word is a superpower. Saying no to things, people, or situations that do not serve you is the most effective way to maintain boundaries. It's not about being rude or selfish. It's about valuing yourself enough to refuse what harms or drains you. Every time you say yes to something that conflicts with your priorities or values, you say no to yourself. Untouchable individuals have learned to say no without guilt or over-explaining. They understand that their peace and well-being come first, and they protect it fiercely. Boundaries also extend to the kinds of relationships you allow in your life. Toxic relationships, whether with friends, family, coworkers, or romantic partners, are breaches in your emotional fortress. They sap your energy, lower your self-esteem, and create unnecessary drama. The untouchable don't wait for these relationships to naturally fade. They actively remove or distance themselves from toxicity. This act is not easy, especially when emotions or obligations complicate matters, but it is essential. Protecting your space means cutting ties with those who disrespect your boundaries or bring negativity into your world. Enforcing boundaries requires consistency and clarity. It's not enough to set a boundary once, you must repeatedly and calmly reinforce it. When someone crosses a line, address it immediately and without apology. This teaches others how to treat you. If you allow violations to slide, people will test your limits again and again. Untouchable individuals understand that boundary enforcement is an ongoing process, not a one-time conversation. Over time, this consistent enforcement builds respect and keeps others from attempting to bother or manipulate you. It's also critical to communicate your boundaries clearly. Ambiguity invites misunderstanding and abuse. When your boundaries are explicit, people know exactly where they stand. This clarity reduces conflict because it removes guessing games and assumptions. Clear communication can be firm but respectful, demonstrating strength without aggression. The untouchable speak their truth with confidence and directness, leaving no room for misinterpretation. Sometimes, enforcing boundaries means distancing yourself physically or emotionally. You may need to limit the time you spend with certain individuals or avoid specific environments that compromise your peace. This distancing is not about avoidance out of fear, but about strategic self-preservation. Untouchable people recognize when a situation or person is harmful and take proactive steps to protect their well-being. Another important aspect of boundaries is protecting your mental space. This means guarding against toxic conversations, gossip, or energy vampires who thrive on drama. The untouchable learn to disengage from conversations that pull them into negativity. They practice selective attention, choosing what to focus on and what to ignore. This mental boundary is vital because it prevents small annoyances from snowballing into emotional turmoil. Financial boundaries are also a key component. Saying no to lending money, avoiding being guilt-tripped into financial favors, and protecting your financial independence are crucial ways to maintain your autonomy. When you allow others to manipulate you through finances, you undermine your power. The untouchable handle money matters, with clear limits and without feeling obligated to please others. Technology and social media bring a new dimension to boundaries. The constant connectivity can become a source of stress and intrusion. Untouchable individuals set limits on their digital lives, including turning off notifications, unfollowing or blocking toxic contacts, and carving out tech-free time. These actions create mental space and reduce unnecessary stress, further protecting their peace. It's important to realize that setting boundaries is a skill you build over time. It may feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to people-pleasing or avoiding conflict. You might encounter resistance or pushback, because you're shifting the dynamics that allowed others to take advantage of you. This discomfort is normal. It means you're growing. Over time, as you practice, setting boundaries becomes second nature, and your confidence grows. You don't owe anyone endless explanations for your boundaries. Sometimes a simple, firm no is enough. When you over-explain or justify, you give others an opening to argue or negotiate your limits. The untouchable understand that their boundaries are theirs to define and protect. They don't need to seek permission or approval. One of the greatest misconceptions about boundaries is that they isolate you or make you seem unkind. In reality, boundaries foster healthier relationships. They create space for mutual respect and understanding. When people know your limits, they can engage with you authentically and respectfully. Boundaries are an act of kindness to yourself and to others, because they clarify how you want to be treated. When you defend your boundaries, you send a powerful message to the world. You are not a doormat, a source of endless availability, or an emotional punching bag. You are a person worthy of respect, peace, and dignity. This message resonates loudly and clearly, making you untouchable to those who might try to bother or manipulate you. Ultimately, boundaries are the fortress that guards your inner sanctuary. They protect your time, your energy, your emotions, and your peace. By setting and enforcing boundaries relentlessly, You create a life where you are in control, where no one can drain you, disrespect you, or disturb your calm. This is how you become untouchable. Resilience and inner strength are the pillars that uphold the untouchable spirit. Life is a constant test, an unending series of challenges, setbacks, disappointments, and unexpected twists. The difference between those who are shaken by adversity and those who remain unbothered lies in the capacity to bounce back, to absorb the blows without losing sight of their core, and to move forward with unwavering confidence. Cultivating resilience is not about denying pain or pretending difficulties don't affect you. It's about developing a mindset and emotional framework that allows you to face hardship with courage and come out stronger on the other side. Resilience begins with accepting that life will throw curveballs. The untouchable don't waste time wishing for a smooth, trouble-free path. Instead, they prepare mentally and emotionally for challenges. This preparation is rooted in realistic optimism, the belief that no matter what happens, they have the resources within themselves to navigate it. They understand that setbacks are temporary, and each obstacle carries a lesson or an opportunity for growth. This mindset shifts the focus from victimhood to empowerment. Trusting your intuition is an essential part of resilience. Your intuition is a deep, internal compass that guides you toward what is right for you, often before your rational mind fully understands it. When you cultivate a strong connection with your intuition, you gain clarity during moments of confusion or crisis. This inner guidance helps you make decisions aligned with your values and long-term vision, even when external circumstances seem chaotic. The untouchable listen closely to their inner voice and use it as an anchor to stay grounded. Control over your narrative is another key aspect of inner strength. Life will hand you stories of failure, rejection, or injustice that can shape your self-position and limit your potential if you allow them to. But the untouchable refuse to let negative narratives define them. They become the authors of their own stories, rewriting limiting beliefs and choosing empowering interpretations of their experiences. This act of reclaiming your narrative transforms victimhood into victory. Instead of, "I was defeated," the story becomes, "I learned, I adapted, I grew stronger." Focusing on your goals and purpose provides a powerful buffer against distraction and discouragement. When your vision is clear and meaningful, it fuels your motivation and resilience. You become less susceptible to being derailed by criticism, doubt, or temporary failures, because your eyes are fixed on something greater than momentary setbacks. The untouchable nurture their goals with persistence and discipline, knowing that consistent effort compounds over time and eventually leads to breakthrough. A vital tool for building resilience is emotional regulation, the ability to manage your feelings without being overwhelmed by them. This doesn't mean suppressing emotions or pretending everything is fine. Instead, it means acknowledging your feelings, understanding their source, and choosing how to express or respond to them constructively. Untouchable individuals develop emotional intelligence that allows them to navigate stress, disappointment, and conflict with calm and clarity. This capacity creates a steady foundation that others cannot easily shake. Another critical practice is cultivating gratitude and perspective. When challenges arise, it's easy to focus on what went wrong or what was lost. Resilient people intentionally shift their focus to what remains, what they have learned, or how they have grown. This habit of gratitude doesn't ignore pain, it balances it with acknowledgement of the positive aspects of life. Perspective keeps problems in proportion. It reminds you that today's difficulties are often just a small chapter in a much larger story. Building physical resilience also supports inner strength. The mind and body are interconnected. When you take care of your physical health through exercise, nutrition, sleep, and rest, you build stamina and endurance that bolster your mental toughness. Physical strength provides energy and confidence that spill over into emotional resilience. The untouchable understand that maintaining their body is a key part of protecting their overall well-being. Connection and support play a nuanced role in resilience. While being untouchable means standing strong on your own, it doesn't mean isolation. Even the strongest individuals need trusted allies or mentors to lean on during difficult times. Resilience is strengthened through healthy relationships that provide encouragement, perspective, and, sometimes, tough love. The untouchable are discerning about whom they allow in their inner circle, choosing those who uplift rather than drain them. Another component of inner strength is adaptability, the willingness to change course when necessary. Stubbornness in the face of reality can become a weakness. The untouchable cultivate flexibility, seeing change not as a threat, but as a necessary part of growth. When plans fall apart, they pivot, find new solutions, and continue moving forward without losing momentum. This fluidity ensures they remain unstoppable, even when circumstances shift unexpectedly. Self-compassion is often overlooked but critical for resilience. Treating yourself with kindness and patience when you struggle builds endurance. The untouchable don't berate themselves for failures or setbacks. Instead, they acknowledge their humanity and use self-compassion as fuel to keep going. This gentle self-support prevents burnout and fosters a sustainable inner strength. Mental rehearsal and visualization are powerful strategies used by those who cultivate inner strength. By vividly imagining overcoming obstacles, succeeding despite adversity, and maintaining calm under pressure, you train your brain to perform those behaviors in real life. This practice prepares you to face challenges with confidence and poise. The untouchable use mental rehearsal to build a psychological edge over stress and fear. Finally, resilience and inner strength create a magnetic presence that others notice. When you embody calm confidence, unshakable resolve, and clarity of purpose, people instinctively respect your boundaries and hesitate before trying to disturb your peace. Your energy sets the tone for how others interact with you. This presence acts as an invisible shield, making you untouchable in social, professional, and personal arenas. Developing resilience and inner strength is a lifelong journey. It requires daily commitment to mindset, habits, and self-care. But as you deepen these qualities, you unlock a freedom that no external circumstance can take away. You become a force of nature, steady, strong, and untouchable, no matter what comes your way.